You don't get to say the word illegals anymore.
And
but
you have.
the percentage.
Who are you to tell me what I can and can't? I've never met you, brother. Listen, I can say whatever I want. They're illegal aliens, and that's what the law calls them, illegal aliens. That's what I'm going to call them.
Right. Listen, you can't say illegals anymore because ICE is directly targeting legal citizens of this country. And how
are you going to enforce your edict on me, just out of curiosity?
Listen, I understand.
But just listen to his point about illegal.
No, I want to know why he gets to instruct
You're
my
changing the topic.
Hang on.
So in this clip, we're going to watch Scott Jennings go at it with and apparently the entire panel of Newsnight with Abby Phillip on CNN. Abby Phillip must be, I don't know, she's off or something. I don't see Abby Phillip there, but this is still Newsnight with Abby Phillip on CNN. And Scott Jennings is going off because the panel wants Scott Jennings to understand that the term illegal for people who came here illegally is not to be used anymore. And Scott Jennings does not appreciate being told what to say and all sorts of things like that. And also we'll look at a little bit of an update of what's going on as far as, all of the riots and stuff that's happening in Minneapolis. I have to say it's very fascinating to watch everything going down with ICE, with, what started as protests that turned into riots and all of that. Very fascinating. But again, on Newsnight with Abby Phillips, we're going to watch Scott Jennings go off on the panel because Scott Jennings does not want to be told how to speak.
You're making a point about the people being arrested.
I understand that your job is predicated on just getting increasingly more demented every single week and that the audience comes back to see if perhaps
make your point.
My point is that you're saying the word illegals, but you don't even really know what's happening. Or actually, I think you do, and you're doing this on purpose. But the truth
because
is,
I want the law enforced.
They are not just targeting illegal immigrants. They are targeting natural-born U.S. citizens.
They are not.
That is a fact. You cannot deny that. I mean, you can on national television.
They are not.
Deny facts all the time.
They are not.
A couple times in this very episode.
I still want to know how you're going to enforce your language edicts on me.
We'll take that up.
How are we going to enforce it?
We're going to take that up in the break.
It is pretty interesting to watch this dynamic go down. The problem is there's so much hypocrisy these days. I am not a Scott Jennings fan. I'm not, because Scott Jennings is probably the same person on the panel saying that, the last victim of all of this, Alex Preddy, went to go attack ICE and had a pew-pew or whatever. I hate that I have to talk like this, but and just goes with the narrative. Everybody just goes with the narrative that's given to them. And I'm pretty sure Scott Jennings is spitting that out, and that's not exactly what happened. There are some people who are at least honest enough to tell you what really is going down. That said, I think that it is, but you can't tell somebody that they can't use whatever term they want to use. I do not know who this young guy is, but he's trying to be edgelord and have his moment on Newsnight with Abby Phillip on CNN, make a name for himself, and to say, well, you can't use the term illegal. Yes, you can. We're not going to do this. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do this. My father is an immigrant. Well, not anymore. He's an American citizen. He's been here longer than anywhere else in his life because he came here somewhere around about 50 years ago. But my father, came here legally. So, and had to bust his behind to do what he needed to do for his family. So, just to see people getting certain kind of handouts, it was completely unheard of back in the day when you would come to America. It was unheard of, and so he would feel some type of way, like, why not call them illegal? They came here illegally. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people, but it's just a category. It's not that big of a deal. But we have more of a clip of Scott Jennings expressing Scott Jennings' feelings about the situation, and then we'll give an update about what's going on in Minneapolis.
Their collusion drove the narrative in order to whip up more political vigilantism. And that's what we got this weekend in Minneapolis. More protests, more violence, more mayhem. And in those protests, another man lost his life. Alex Preddy, 37 years old, inserted himself into a law enforcement situation on Saturday morning. And in the chaos that followed, he was shot by a federal agent, and he died. This is the second person to die in Minnesota after inserting themselves into a law enforcement situation, something you should not do, something that is a federal crime. Protesting is one thing. Inserting yourself into active law enforcement settings is quite another. It is quite dangerous. You should not do it, no matter what your elected officials have told you to do. The insurgency in Minnesota, make no mistake, is well organized, it is well funded, it is well trained. These are not random passersby. These are highly organized agitators and disruptors who are trying to spark violence and mayhem on the streets of Minneapolis. Now, following the shooting, the narrative war from the left kicked into overdrive, and in one of the most idiotic, historically illiterate, and irresponsible statements made to date, the governor of Minnesota, an absolute buffoon, Tim Walz, said this, cut number 5.
Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
Can we just take a moment to recognize how outrageously disgusting it is to say such a thing, to invoke the name of Anne Frank, who alongside a million other children were mass slaughtered by the most evil regime in human history?
Okay, that's enough of the lies, okay? I was going to let it keep playing because I was like, let me see what else he's going to say. The man started lying from he rolled the camera up until this point. First of all, that girl died from typhus, okay? All right, there's that. Now, moving on because I can't stay there. Y'all already know. I'm not with the riots. I'm not with the riots at all. But to say that it's just the left that's weaponizing words. Christy Noem came in and said that guy, Alex, woke up to go attack. Literally, she used the word. She said he went there to go attack ICE agents and came at them with a GUN. And even Mark Dice, who is a completely MAGA on the right, everything, was like, that is not what happened. And she needs to stop playing. This situation is extremely delicate, right? Right off the bat, it's extremely delicate and should be handled as such. Okay? I think that's a very mature statement from Mark Dice. These people, so now he's like, oh, he inserted himself. The girl fell on the ground. She got tossed on the ground by one of the agents. He went to go pick her up. Of course, that got in their way. They got annoyed. They started bear spraying him. There was a tussle. They removed the gun from his pocket. Somehow, on all fours, he was shot on his back. I don't know, okay? I've been saying the same thing about ICE. I've been saying that they lowered the training on ICE, and they need more training. If you guys care about ICE and mass deportations, you want it to be done effectively. And I'm not seeing anything effective happening here that's considered a mass deportation, okay? There's that. And on the other side, right, because now with Minneapolis, it's like this type of stuff has to stop. This is our Border Patrol, and this is true, this is happening. This is our Border Patrol being targeted at a hotel in Minneapolis, surrounded, blocked, and glass smashed. People trying to force their way inside. This is not a protest, it's an attack on law enforcement, and it is true. Right? Like, what part of the game? Y'all doing this again, and this is why, this reminds me of George Floyd. This is why I don't get involved with this part of it, because yeah, okay, protest is one thing, but then now here y'all go, y'all breaking up things again, y'all back at it again. You guys are back at it again, right? Like, so it's on both sides for me, because I feel like, I'm sorry, I feel like if they really wanted to deport anybody, they would have a much better plan at hand. The blueprint would be much better. What you would do is, you have, they already have high recruitments. You get your strong officers to be able to go in and grab the people they need to grab, okay? And then you have the ones who aren't maybe trained as much. Maybe you have them on the sidelines, making sure the crowd doesn't get too close or something. What is the point of all this hiring if you can't figure out how to put the people where they're supposed to be? Like, I'm sorry. What I saw, and I call it testing, it's like wrestling with this person, the culprit, right, from the top. That's like, I have so much more respect for correctional officers today. It's absolutely unheard of to wrestle with somebody from the top. You take them at the knees, bring them down safely. And I know I sound like I'm making it easy. It's just what I've seen. That's the thing. It's what I've seen. And I've seen it done effectively, you know, in some high intensity situations. Okay. But, you know, hey, whatever, right? I don't know. Me personally, I think that a lot of this stuff is just to give us more surveillance state. Nobody's getting deported. And the last part I'm going to say is people are saying, oh, you know, ICE is out there because of the Somalis and what happened with the Somalis and fraud. Somalians have TPS until March, at least until March, and I'm sure they're fighting to extend it. Who's getting deported? What is going on? Questions that need to be answered. I'll see you guys at the next one.